Right, we're off for a short walk in the woods and fields, and we're going to use natural features to navigate. So this is really done for our local cubs, but anybody going on a walk with kids is very welcome to use this video and some of the links. So cubs, before you go on this, you might want to have a look in the description below at this leaflet, and it all forms part of your Navigate activity badge, or it could contribute to your hiking activity as well. So there's a few things that we know before we go. We know where north is, and what we've done is we've used a simple map, and that's orientated towards our street now. So we know north is up that way. That's just a little orienteering fun thing that we did the other day. So you can have a go before you do this of actually making your own little map of the area. And the other thing we know that you should always do before you set out on a walk is the weather forecast. We know that the wind is coming from the east, from the sea. What else do we know, Joel? The direction of the prevailing wind.
The height of the trees.
Yeah, we kind of know that too. But we know that the wind is coming from the east today, but we know the wind normally comes from the southwest. That's called the prevailing wind, or the direction that the wind normally comes from. Okay, so we're going to go on a big circular walk and come back, and we're going to use natural features on the way. So have a go. You know what to take with you if you're going on a decent walk, because we did the packing for a day hike. I'll put the link below just there. Enjoy your walk. Cheers. So, Joel, does the sun rise in the east or the west?
The east.
Which is which way?
That way.
And it sets in the west, which is over
That way.
there. So where is the sun now? Is it in the north or the south?
South.
South, yeah. So the sun goes over from the south, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going on a big loop, and we're going to keep handrails of natural navigation clues. So firstly, we've got our burn down here. So which way does that flow?
That way.
Which way is that way?
East.
Why is it east?
Because the sea's east.
Okay, brilliant. Let me take the dog. Now, another little handrail we can use on the way is this tree. Ivy, when it's young and at the start of a tree, likes to grow on the north side, and then as it matures it goes onto the south side, which is where the sun is. So one of the things that we knew before we set out was the weather forecast, and we know that the wind is coming from the east. So when you look at a field of grass, it can tell you a lot about the prevailing wind, which we know is from the southwest, and the current direction of wind. So which way is the longer grass going?
That way.
Yeah, and we know that the wind direction today is from the east.
And the shorter grass is going that way.
Yeah, so we've seen on this field that the shorter grass underneath is orientated this way towards me, which we know is from the prevailing wind, which is to the southwest. So now we know that this is southwest, and the long grass is being blown this way, and that's to the east. So Joel, which side of this tree here has got the bigger branches on? So trees like light, so which way will be south?
That side?
Yeah, so we know that's to the south, because this is called the tick sign. So you'll find that a tree will have shorter, steeper branches on the north side, and then longer flowing branches on the south side. So each tree, especially exposed ones like this, is a natural compass. So what can you tell me about the lie of the land here? Which way is downhill? Yeah, down there, so we know that's probably where the water is down there and where the stream is going back to the rivers. Right, we're starting around our loop and we're going to have a look at this hedgerow here. So, Joel, I want you to have a look at this hedgerow. Tell me which side has got a little bit more growth on it. We'll have a look along there at the shape of the branches. Oh my God, we've chosen a muddy way here, haven't we? Nice one.
Where are we?
Right, so would you say this side's got more growth on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are we on the south side now or the north side?
South.
Yeah, good one. So we're going around the loop now, and when we look at these distant buildings over here, we can see that people would normally leave the trees to the prevailing wind side, which is from the southwest, and we can see along this tree line here in the distance that the trees that are on the windward side, blowing this way normally, are shorter. So the trees that are in an exposed area, the ones that are on the windy side, tend to be shorter, and then the more sheltered ones tend to be a bit more. We're walking back along now with the wind to our backs, so we know that we're still away from home, and we know that downhill is there where the burn is, or the dean. Interestingly, on the edge of the wood there, the trees are quite large, and trees like that are exposed to the wind have learned to survive. They become robust, and the trees that are deeper into the wood might be a bit more fragile. So that kind of gives us a clue, other than seeing it to the edge of the wood, that we're approaching the edge of a mature wood. Here's a fine old tree here. So which side, Joel, has got the bigger branches growing?
Right.
To the right. So which way will be south?
Right.
Yeah, so that side. And we can tell often the prevailing wind direction by tree roots. So they lay down anchor roots into the wind. Imagine if the wind's often blowing this way. We've got the long anchor roots at the bottom and shorter ones more vertical on this side. So I appreciate this is the edge of the wood, but imagine if this was an exposed tree, we'd have the anchor roots into the wind that way. So Joel, what can you see up there?
Houses.
Well, what does that tell us?
We're getting near our home.
Yeah.
See.
And we've started to see increased signs of activity, haven't we? Footprints. When we see fallen trees like this, it's often a clue to earlier storms, which are probably going to come from the prevailing wind direction. We can see all these tree stumps are lying that way, and those blown trees are lying that way. We've got to be careful here though, because there's going to be erosion from the riverbed also undermining the roots at the side. So my point is there, you've got to take two clues at a time. So maybe just looking at fallen trees is a good clue to the prevailing wind direction, but you've also got to look at the other circumstances in the environment to make sure that you're reading the right clue. So we're following the stream down now, and we know when we set off the walk, our handrail was that we had the stream on our right and we were heading upstream, and now we're heading downstream again with it on our right, but we're on the other side. I think Honey knows the way, don't you, Honey? The growth of moss on a tree is often a good clue to which side's north. So it's a common thought that moss actually just likes growing on the north, but that's not true. Moss likes the damp. Now on this tree that's true, it's on the north side where it's damp, but you'll find that the moss also grows down on this side where there's a collection of water. So on this flat mossy branch here where the water's collected, it's actually on the south side, whereas on these trees over here, which are much more vertical, the moss is actually properly on the north side. So if you're going to use moss as a clue, look for a steep branch. Now that's an interesting one as well. Well, it is to me anyway, where here the moss is grown on this side, but it's more to the eastern side, and that's because the bark is very rough here, so the water's collected in this corrugated bark, and that's enabled the moss to grow. Whereas more like here, where it's the moss is a little bit smoother and steeper, it's truly on the north side. So here's some immature ivy, and the young ivy has quite pointy lobes, like that tri shape, and it likes to be on the north side when it's young, and then as it grows up the tree it'll start to edge round to the south side, and the leaves become a more rounded sort of shape as it goes up and seeks light. So this very mature ivy that's growing on the south side here has got quite rounded lobes on it, and fruit. What are you doing? Right, we're getting back close now. What can you hear?
Cars.
Where are they?
Up there.
Over there, yeah, where the road is. So we hope you've enjoyed that walk. It's been a beautiful day. We've used lots of clues to do a nice loop, knowing where we are all the time, and hopefully not throwing too many snowballs.
Cut!